Hey guys, how you going? This is BillyEatWorld, and today we're going to take a look at Battlefield Hardline versus Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Some of you guys might think this is a stupid comparison, but inevitably every time a new game in either of these franchises comes out, everybody starts comparing the two. Both of these games are arcade-style FPS games made by AAA developers, and that means they probably have a lot more in common than you might think. There's a few obvious differences though, so if you're a fan of either of these franchises and you're looking to get into the other, then hopefully this video will help you out. Before we start though, I should mention that although I play a lot more Battlefield, I do actually really like Advanced Warfare, and it was definitely one of my top 5 games of 2014. If you disagree with anything I say in this video though, feel free to let me know, but just remember I'm not really interested in reading abusive comments from upset fanboys. Both of these games are breathing life into a fairly stale FPS format, so regardless of whether you're a fan of COD or Battlefield, it is worth realising that both games deserve some serious credit. I'm not going to get into which one I prefer more though, considering the full version of Hardline isn't even out yet, but this video should explain a few of the things I prefer in one or the other. But anyway, to kick off at number 5 is theme. This is probably the most obvious difference between these two games, with Advanced Warfare going down a futuristic path and Hardline trying something completely different with a present-day police theme. Both of these franchises have taken a big risk by stepping into new territory with new themes, but I think it's too early yet to tell whether it was a risk worth taking and which of the two games will come out better off. Advanced Warfare added in a bunch of high-tech features to the series, but was clearly riding on the tail of other futuristic games released in 2014 that didn't perform quite as well as expected. Hardline, on the other hand, has taken an even bigger risk with a relatively fresh theme, but that being said, it still has real-world weapons and gear, which fans of previous Battlefield games will already be familiar with. And coming in at number 4 is weapons. So, like I said before, Hardline brings back quite a few weapons from previous Battlefield games and adds in a bunch of other real-world guns into the mix. Advanced Warfare, on the other hand, adds in a combination of real-world and futuristic weapons, which is a real turn-off for players who look for a level of realism in their FPS games. I've also heard a lot of people compare the new weapon mechanics in Hardline to Advanced Warfare, but although the time to kill and recoil is very different in Hardline, I don't think you could begin to call these games similar. Advanced Warfare still has a much shorter time to kill, and the recoil of most guns in this game is much easier to manage, so if you're concerned Hardline might turn out to be a COD clone, I don't think you have anything to worry about. So coming in at number 3 is the Loadout system. Now, in Hardline there has been a pretty big overhaul to the loadout system, with weapons and gear now being bought by in-game cash in a much more flexible order. Advanced Warfare, on the other hand, brings back the point-based loadout system from previous games, which allows you a lot more freedom to customise just about anything to your own playstyle. I personally think a point-based loadout system is the way to go, because for example in Advanced Warfare you can even choose options as drastic as no primary weapon or 2 primary weapons. The loadout and unlock system in Hardline does look a lot less linear than it is in BF4 though, so it's nice to have a little bit more flexibility even if you are still limited by classes. And coming in at number 2 is movement. This is a very important part of any FPS game, and to be honest I don't think COD and Battlefield have ever been more similar. Hardline is supposedly the fastest Battlefield game ever made, and while I wouldn't say it's quite as fast as Advanced Warfare, it's definitely on its way to being there. The big difference between movement in these games though, is that Advanced Warfare now has a double jump mechanic which is becoming so popular in so many FPS franchises. Unlike Hardline though, on the other hand, Advanced Warfare still doesn't have vehicles or parachutes, and it also doesn't have any of the new gadgets like ziplines and grappling hooks that'll make movement a lot more fun in Hardline. And finally, coming in at number 1 is map design. Now, anyone who's ever booted up a Battlefield and a Call of Duty game would realise COD is based around close quarters infantry combat, and the maps in Battlefield are much bigger. In Ghosts, I think the maps got a little bit bigger, but they seem to have been scaled down again in Advanced Warfare, and there just isn't the long lines of sight that you'll come across in Battlefield games. Hardline is obviously intended to be a much smaller game than BF4 is, but I was actually surprised to see how big some of the maps are. To compensate for this, Battlefield has always had bigger server caps than COD though, and 64-player servers will be returning in Hardline, while most game modes in Advanced Warfare are still running at 12. But anyway, that just about wraps up this top 5, so let me know what you think of these two games in the comment section below. And as always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Also, check out the links in the description below if you want to see more of my videos, or if you'd like to support my channel on Patreon. And until next time, see you later and have a good one.